Good evening and welcome to Thinking Re-envisioned. You're just seconds away from the unmatchable Henry G. Noel. Believe me, this is the tune-up your cognition has been waiting on. Here's Henry.
Welcome everybody and to Transitional Radio, home of Brian Broady's All Natural Being, IPM Nation's Sneak Speaks, Lee Rawley's Copy That Speaks, and this, the 30th episode of Thinking Re-envisioned. I am Henry G. Noel, your host for Thinking Re-envisioned, where we are committed to making you think, making you question and question everything. Or maybe we're just committed. I'm not too sure. I wish to thank you for joining me this Tuesday evening. And tonight, I want to present an observation. Now, we live our lives plodding along, doing what we believe we must rather than what we would like to be doing because we feel we're obligated. But everything changes when we receive the news from our doctor, we are dying. Once we have been given that death date, everything in our life seems to change. We decide to start living our lives for what's actually important rather than what we believed was important. The fact is, we already have been given a death sentence, as no one leaves here alive. We are only missing the exact date. So why is the date so important that that's what pushes us to change and not the fact we're all going to die anyway? Why is the date the thing that creates the urgency to live life to its fullest instead of wasting the life that we've had? So what are we waiting for? Death? So we are live this evening from our uplink studio in beautiful Cuenca, Ecuador, the #2 most listened to city in the world on IPMNation.com. We are broadcasting live on IPMNation.com, Thinking Re-envision's Facebook and YouTube pages. And I wish to thank all our listeners from around the globe listening to the radio, those listening to our rebroadcasts, and you, our fly-on-the-wall video listeners, for taking the time to tune in. I would also like to thank our good friends at Wirecast for making it possible for us to be broadcasting both live and globally. And again, another big thank you to my brother Wayne for managing all of what Brian and I throw at him. We do try to stump him, but he just keeps coming up and shining. I don't know what it is. So to all of our listeners who wish to participate in this show, email me at henrygnoel.com. It is my desire to present a show where everyone can be as actively involved as they want. We trust you have had an enjoyable Tuesday thus far, and I am hoping this continues in spite of my brother. So let's get into tonight's topic of why we wait for death sentence to begin living our life to its fullest and see what the consensus is from everyone else. So let's get into the thread and see what's happening. So anyway, let's dig in. Hi, Rita. Thank you so much for being on. Alice, thank you for joining us. And of course, my brother wouldn't be here without him. Thank you very much. Jamie, again, thank you. Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. Hey there. Hey there. And thank you. You know, we really do waste an awful lot of time. Candace, peace. I love that. I love seeing those two fingers come up. Thank you. I'm glad it's not one finger. That's okay. You're be insulting my IQ. Rita says you're cheating yourself of your best life by procrastinating. You know, and you're right. Thank you, sweetie. You're really true. You know, we do. I don't understand where this comes from, where it come in. I mean, when Brian talks about walking in the shadow of the valley, you know, every moment of our life, death hangs over us, and not that that's a bad thing. I mean, I'm not saying that death is really the bad thing. I think the fact is we do not get out of here alive. And so for the few decades that we are here, we spend it working our tails off, and a lot of times in jobs we don't like, doing things we hated to do, living in a debt that we really don't want. And when we get given a date, then all of a sudden, like, it becomes reality. Like, oh, wow, I'm going to die. I better start living my life, man. There's a lot of places I wanted to go see. I got this huge bucket list. I like, It's a little late. Why don't we do this early on? Why don't we create the life that allows us to deal with that bucket list of ours as it gets created, rather than saving all this stuff up to the last 6 months that we get given to live? It just doesn't make any logical sense. Again, so that's why I posed the question. In fact, I'll be honest. It came from I was doing some rewriting on the article, the one that I had done on fear, and I was reworking it, and I decided to do some research on it about fear and quotes on fear, and I came across a quote from Steve Jobs, and Steve Jobs said, I mean, he addressed the fear. He addressed fear about as succinctly as I think anybody I know. He goes, quote, "Remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life. Because almost everything, all external explanations, all pride, all a fear of embarrassment or failure, these things just fall away in the face of death, leaving only what is truly important." And I totally, that's it. I mean, that really, I guess I could say goodnight, folks, because that sums up the whole show right there. Gelato? You have got to be kidding me. Gelato? You're sitting there eating gelato in front of me. Okay. Man, you're lucky I love you, bro. So yes, I think that this is really what we really should be facing this. We should be really looking at this because I think it's extremely important. Candace says, I think so. People get jammed in the box or comfort zone and fear to get beyond that. I agree, Candace. I mean, that is a large part of this. It's fear. Rita says, it is so easy to take life for granted until Jenny, with everything Jenny's going through. Thank you for joining us, Jenny. I'm glad that you're on. We set ourselves up for this dream, I guess, of what life is supposed to be about, and we don't realize that we don't get out of here alive. It just doesn't work that way. Hi, John. Good evening. Welcome to you. So we don't leave here alive. And so since we have death always with us, I mean, death is probably the largest part of our life, and yet we plan our life around our day-to-day doldrums, our day-to-day challenges, and that's what we really think is our life. And someday, when am I going to go to Tahiti? Oh, someday. We'll save up for it someday. Or, when are we going to have that great big family reunion? Well, someday. We'll save up the money and we'll go. But then all of a sudden, the doctor says, "Oh, by the way, I'm really sorry. You came in awfully late. Here you go, 9 months to live. This is the best I can do for you." Well, all of a sudden, now let's go around the world. Let's get that family reunion. Let's do all the things I wanted to do. You notice it's not buying all the things I want. It's doing all the things that I should have been doing. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. And we can't should on ourselves. We need to be living a life as if tomorrow was our last day. And if we did that, spent more time living that way, we'd have much happier lives. It's not about the things. It's about the memories. It's about the experiences that we have. Jenny says, we are dying every day. So what life is for is this moment. Nothing else is promised. Seize the day is not just a cliche. No, it is not, Jenny. It should be a way of life. Jamie says, amen. I thank you so much for that participation. Thank you. Candace says, don't fear death. It's part of life. Yes, it is. I mean, and that's it. So many people are so afraid of death. Oh, and then I love when they change it around and they say, well, I'm really not afraid of death. It's just the way I'm going to die. I don't want it to be painful. Okay. I don't want to suffer. You don't think you've been suffering all this time? My gosh. It gets to be funny. But if we lived our life I mean, the country western song. I can't remember who sang it, Kenny Chesney or I can't remember who sang it. You know, living today as if it was our last day. That's, this is, why do we wait? It just seems to be this is the way we have been programmed. Work hard, nose to the grindstone, support and so provide for the family, make sure they're taken care of, do all of these things. And you never get to enjoy your life either. And then all of a sudden, the doctor says, well, this is it. It's pretty much done. Wow. How hard. I mean, that's why I value like Make-A-Wish. The Make-A-Wish Foundation is phenomenal for the children that are plagued with life-threatening diseases. And the participation in that, to give them that last wish that they really wanted. And in fact, I'll even tell you a story of an experience I had with it. John says we need to learn to be still and silent in times of intense stress. Patience will overcome anger. Absolutely will, John. No question about it. But I remember I lived about 2 miles from Disneyland in Anaheim, California, for quite a few years, and I was raising my daughter. And we would go to Disneyland about twice a month. We just go down and just have fun. We just enjoyed it. I mean, it was a great way to escape. Excuse me. And we were waiting to get on the ride for the Matterhorn. We were the next ones to get in to go in from the line. We were right at the gate, so we were the next ones. And they held everybody up. And all of a sudden, several people came in, and then this guy comes in with this purple hair, and I'm going, oh man, I've seen him before. I know who he is. And then all of a sudden, this guy comes running through with this little child. They run up up to the Matterhorn. They get in the car and off they go around the Matterhorn. And they come down, and this guy comes walking up to me with this little kid and says, "Thank you so much for letting us cut in front." It was Michael Jackson. And my daughter was stunned. I mean, she stood there like mouth open, and you got to be kidding. And I said, not a problem. I mean, I understood that's what it was all about as soon as I saw the child. And because he was a big supporter of Make-A-Wish Foundation and did a lot of things, getting kids' last wishes out there. So, we're adults and should know better. And to be living this life that we do, sort of, I think, keeping the fact that we are going to die out of our mind. We just don't make it part of us, which we should, because it is part of us. It's a major part of us. And so it always goes on the back burner, and we just go through life like we always have tomorrow. It's coming. Yeah, no problem. We have it. Well, we just may not. I mean, it's not up to us. And so if we don't start living our life as we're growing, raising the families, doing the things together, and we miss out on a lot. Candace says, look at Hughes now. Yes, think about, we have so many people that have moved down here from all over the world. Cuenca seems to become the melting pot of Ecuador. We have expats, immigrants, actually by the legal term, from all over the world, U.S., Canada, from Mexico. We have them from Venezuela and Colombia, all over South America. We have them from New Zealand. We have them from Australia, Germany, Switzerland, the Netherlands. We have them from South Africa, Nigeria, the Congo. We have them from Libya. We have people from all over the world, France and Spain, England, Ireland, Wales, Scotland, and they're all coming here, and they're moving here, which is great. I mean, they come down first for vacation. And a lot of these people are young. They're in their 40s, late 30s, early 40s, and they have children, and they're bringing them here, raising them here, giving them an experience that they would never, ever be able to get living at home. And that is what I get every time that's one of the questions we always ask: where are you from and what brought you here? My answer is a plane, but I usually get, I figured he'd say that. The feather in the fist. I got to remember that. But what brought you here? And it was, we're watching the countries deteriorate, and we just want to be able to raise our children in a place where I know that we actually can help them learn. And so they come, they stay, they're here for a few years, they move on, or they stay, and they give the kids other experiences. And while they're here, they travel, they go to different countries, they'll go to Chile, Peru, they go to Argentina, Brazil, because it's just a bus ride away. And so these children are getting an education above all that I've ever seen, ever. And it is a phenomenal thing. Michael Pinchera, welcome. Thank you for signing on. It's great to see you. Big day coming up, my man. I love it. This is great. And so we have Michael's getting married, so this is fun. So we're going to have fun. But why is it we wait till we get announced? Why is it when we are told that we now here's our finite time, now we have it down to a number? Why is it having that date, the trigger that says, wow, it's time to kick some doors in. It's time to mortal up. Is it because I have nothing else to lose? Well, we're in that same state every day of our life before that. So it's just interesting to see why it is we wait until that very last moment. Marcia, welcome. It's been a little while. It's great to see you come back on. Hello there. Excuse me. So I really am fear. I'm sure a lot of it would be fear of stepping outside of our routine. I know we don't change. Most of the times change comes to us because of some traumatic event. We change jobs because we lose the one that we had, or we end up going something or doing something because something just got taken away. We lost something. So, usually change is from some sort of an event that forces us to not have any option but to change at that point. And that, of course, is a pretty big one. I mean, so doctor hands you your note and says, whoop, 9 months. But why don't we do that to ourselves? Why don't we have a stick-em note that just says, last day, and put the question mark, so that we remind ourselves to live our life to the fullest every day of our lives, so we actually reap the most benefit from it. I mean, it's like, you have your home, and you need to build a deck out there. You got to do that. There's no question, it's got to be done. So just before you sell the house, you build the deck because it'll sell better. Never got to enjoy it, but somebody else will, which is great. But the fact is, we do so many things in our life, or not do so many things. We deprive ourselves of things just because. And it's that because. I'm really curious as to the because. What is it that forces us or causes us to live our life where we're not enjoying it, or where we could have done something to have enjoyed it and we didn't do that? And how many times that goes through? I mean, husband and wife, the wife wants to go to Europe, and the husband says, yeah, one of these days, yes, we'll go, we'll save. She passes away. Now he walks around with all that guilt. Why? Why do we do this? We create our own. We are the biggest perpetrators. I sound like Brian. That's a cop term. Isn't that perpetrator? Isn't that the people that do things to? Yeah, I think that's what that perpetrator. Thank you, Brian. Not even on, and he haunts me. It's we are our own perpetrators. We are our own worst enemy. We are the ones. I mean, Pogo, the old the cartoon. I have seen the enemy, and and they are us. We are it. We are our own worst enemy. We settle for this life, and we don't do the things that we really want to go do, for whatever multitudes of reasons we have to not do them, until it becomes a death sentence. And then that gets us off our butts. And then all of a sudden, our priorities change. And now it's going to be, well, whatever time I got left, I'm going to enjoy it. Well, let me tell you something. You only have a set amount of time left now. So why wait for the pink slip? Write your own. Put a question mark on it. Remind yourself that, Yeah, I think I'm going to go on that vacation, or I'm going to go take that cruise, or the heck with it. I'm going to go do this. I've been wanting to do this, and I'm going to go do that. So please ponder that a little bit, and kind of think about it, and get it ingrained. Talk about it actually between yourselves and between the family members, and just talk about it, and start instilling this in the children. Start instilling this in the kids, because they're going to be following your footsteps. And I have apologized to my kids up and down for that. I'm so sorry that you're following in my footsteps. I mean, I taught you a lot of things. Some of them were really good. Some of it wasn't. And I'm taking all that back. It wasn't the way to go. I have grown up since then. And you need to live your life to the fullest. You need to have control of your life. You need to do that. And then you need to teach your children to do that, so that they have less of this stigma that we have to deal with. Rita says it is really okay to make ourselves a priority. We are a priority. I mean, I don't know who would be on the top of your list, but your name better be on it. I mean, that's the only thing I can say. Marcia says, we came with an expiration date, so let's enjoy the life. Absolutely, Marcia. It's just that no one's told us what that expiration date is. And it's really funny, but only when you hear the expiration date do we start functioning to prepare for that. We know we have an expiration date. We know we're going to die. So why not enjoy the life we got? It's makes no sense. Anyway, starting to lose the voice here, I think. Starting to crack. I'm getting a finger waved at me saying, So, yeah, back to that. I mean, because it does. And I know it's all tied into fear. And that's, like I said, that's what I was working on the fear thing, because of that. And then the quote from Steve Jobs just sort of drove the nail home. I mean, it really was poignant to me that it really does explain everything of what we are. And look at who Steve Jobs was. I mean, billionaire, Apple Computers, a couple of times actually, got fired once. And it's when he knew he was dying, because he was diagnosed early on. He knew he was dying. It made life far less complicated. And you start living your life for what's truly important, not what you were raised and taught to believe is important. Yeah, no, you got it, Marcia. No problem on this end. Please, no singing tonight. Not going to happen. But I believe it really does tie into fear. And I think also being honest with yourselves. If you wanted to change your life, and maybe a lot of people don't, and maybe I have gone into this really starry-eyed, thinking that people want to change their lives. I know people that do and are working on trying to change their life. But I'm assuming a lot of people are out there wanting to do that. At least that's what I keep hearing. But maybe we don't. Maybe most of the people don't want to change their lives. Then they're very content with the way they are, with their guilt and their greed and their fear and their frustration and their anger. And maybe they just feel right at home with that. I don't know. I don't. That's for sure. And that's why I went through this whole process. Rita says, we know this, but until the reality of death knocks on your door, we do not have to face that reality. And I agree, Rita. You're right. That's true. That is exactly how people think. But it is a reality. It is right in your face. It's there every single moment, because you don't know when that's going to be called. So, God, the hand of fate is staring me in the monitor. God, oh, yeah, clean your nails, brother. No, just joking. We shouldn't wait. We shouldn't be waiting. We don't know. We get up. Yeah, in your face. That's it. Speak to the hand. I got it. We just go through life thinking we have it all, that we have all the time in the world. Yet you're going to leave this place. And I think there seems to be some sort of a major disconnect between the reality that we are going to die, and then the reality when the doctor says you're going to die. The doctor's not a fortune teller. He's just giving you a prognosis. Well, you had that prognosis from the moment we were born. We are going to die. Some of us a lot earlier than others, that's all. And we have no control over that. We just don't know when that's going to be. So to me, rather than wait till we have a finite time, why not live it like today is going to be it? You know, with that we're going to go to sleep and we're not going to wake up tomorrow morning. So we can go to sleep and be content with the day that we've had and the enjoyment that we've had, that we've done everything that we can, and going to bed puts a smile on our face, then I think we've done our job. If we are going to bed disgruntled, frustrated, angry, pissed off, then we haven't done our job. And that is really what the difference is. But if you were to go to bed thinking that you're not going to wake up in the morning, that might just change your tune. There's no sense wasting any minute, any moment, angry, bitter, guilty. Not one justifiable reason for that. Life, when they say is too short, it is way too short. And whether you have 110 years or you had a day and a half, this is your time. And you just have to enjoy it. I mean, I can't see why. Kate, welcome, welcome. Sorry, this is right at the end of the show. We've got about a minute left. And thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. Like seeing your icon come up. Thank you. Oh, I have 3 minutes, I'm being told. Great. Good. I just tease my brother because my clock seems to be a little bit off from his. I think it's, I don't know if it's a little bit ahead or a little bit behind, but I just blamed it on the equator. We have a longer way to spin than you guys do up there. So, you know, that's all I did. Anyway, great for joining us. Thank you, Kate, so much. It's great to see your icon. Thank you. And we're talking about, well, you great subject. You know, it's why do we wait to be handed the note from the doctor saying, by the way, you got 9 months to live, that we actually change our whole attitude about life and we start living it for ourselves and for enjoyment. Why can't we do that now? Why can't we teach our children to do that as they grow up and live their life for enjoyment rather than what we have done and go through and end up having to get rid of and change just so that we can have a great life to end it with. It's just sad that we waste all this time in fear and in hate and in guilt and in frustration and anger when it's uncalled for, absolutely uncalled for. So anyway, that is what the topic was this evening. I want to thank you for your participation. I really do appreciate it, and I love your viewpoints. Thank you much for that. And again, if you have any questions, write to me. It's right there across the top, henrygnowell.com. Please send me. I appreciate that. And please don't hesitate to write me. I'd love to hear from you all. So with that, I am going to say good evening and hope that you have a fun time and an enjoyable evening. And we will catch you tomorrow evening. That'll be Wednesday, same time. And we'll just continue with something else. I'll make up something. We'll come up with something, or send me a note and we'll talk about that. Anyway, good night, everybody. Hasta mañana.